everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out. And definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. So I'm going to begin today's video with some very, very exciting news. For those of you that watched the video I made with Joe over the weekend, you already know what I'm going to say. And if you haven't watched it, why not? I'm going to put a link to the description. I'm going to put a link to the video in the description. Officially, I have filed for divorce from my ex. So my lawyer filed the paperwork last week and my ex has been notified. Now the way that they do it in New Hampshire is a little, well, I was going to say it's a little bit different. I don't know if it's different because I'm not a divorce attorney. But when I think of somebody getting a divorce, I think of somebody getting served divorce papers. In New Hampshire, you're mailed the divorce papers and then you have 30 days to respond. So what ends up happening essentially is, so my lawyer filed for divorce. Then she mailed my ex the paperwork telling him that I filed for divorce. At that point, he has to go to the courthouse. And within 30 days of picking up paperwork at the courthouse, he needs to get back to me. So I'm in that 30-day window, assuming he went to the courthouse to pick up the paperwork. So I'm waiting right now. So that's what's happening now. I have to tell you, though, I never thought this day was going to happen. I have been waiting what seems like an eternity. I wanted to file for divorce in December. My lawyer told me January was better. Now it's March, and finally it's happening. You know, and Joe said to me, he's like, don't get too excited, Sharon, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I love Joe. I respect Joe. But for me, this is a moment I am celebrating because I never thought it was going to happen. I thought I was going to be stuck with my ex forever. I didn't think I was ever going to get out. I was fully codependent. I was financially dependent on him. I gave up a career. I had my 2 kids. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. So for me to be telling you from another state with my children safely with me and we're doing better, we're thriving, we have love in our life, and we're doing it, I do celebrate that. I recognize, of course, and I value the sanctity of marriage, but in my situation, my ex was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive, financially abusive. There was no way that I could stay in a marriage with him, but I thought I was going to have to. Didn't think I would ever get out, so I do celebrate it. And like Joe and I have said to each other many times, no matter what happens, we are free. We won because we're not with them anymore. I know this isn't going to happen, but even if my ex took everything, like the whole house, everything, I have my kids, I have my animals, I have my freedom. He can't take that away from me. So I've already won. So even if I leave the marriage with 2 cents in my pocket, I'm free. A narcissist can never be free. They're stuck to their narcissism. And I know people are going to say, well, narcissists can get better too. Yes, technically, but in order for a narcissist to get better, they would have to be able to look at themselves honestly, see what they are, who they are, the things they've done, and actively work to change. That would take a miracle into itself. Can you imagine a narcissist looking at themselves and thinking that they've done anything wrong? And it's not just they have to think that once, they have to every single day live it, remember it, and work to change it. Us who were with narcissists, we can change, thrive, grow, adapt because we're not stuck to our narcissism. We don't have it. Narcissism is a plague on humanity. It's a ruiner of other people. It's a ruiner of marriages, of children. It destroys. So for any of us who have gotten out, we already won. For any of you still in the marriage, in a situation with a narcissist, I want to tell you, you can get out. I didn't think I was going to be able to get out. So when you sit here and you might say to yourself, oh, yay for you, you got out, that's not going to be me. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I really didn't. It took a miracle for me to get out. That's part of what I do with my channel is I tell you what's happened to me because what happened to me really is a miracle. If I can get out, so can you. Do not give up hope. Once you give up hope, it's over. You have to hold on to hope. You have to keep your eyes peeled for miracles. I'm going to talk a little bit about miracles in today's video. My experience with God is that He's quiet. You have to listen very carefully, but he's there. Now, in today's video, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about codependence. So actually, let me just backtrack for 1 second. I will keep you up to date with what's going on with my ex once I hear back from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes me wait the full 30 days, but he's obviously not going to be too happy about this, and I will keep you up to date, but I do feel happy about this. I'm excited, and I am ready to live my life. So it's fitting that I'm telling you this today because of what I'm going to speak about, which is codependence. Codependence is a thief. It's a killer. It takes away everything, every single thing that you could be, that you should be. It stomps on potential. It suffocates opportunities. It murders dreams. It annihilates them. Codependence isn't isolated either. It infests and takes down entire families and subsequent generations. Codependence is catastrophic. Unfortunately, I'm aware that many of us know it intimately. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, what it is, and how to break free from its grip. I'm going to also tell you how I was freed from it. Like many of you, I was raised in the perfect storm of dysfunction, which all but guaranteed I'd spend my adulthood shackled to a nightmarish genetic fate. You know, when you are codependent, this is a learned behavior from childhood. It's a response to trauma, essentially. Your emotional needs weren't met. You believe you don't matter. And oftentimes that's true in your family environment, but you take that like a heavy weight into adulthood relationships with you. You know, when I was growing up, my father is a narcissist, my mother's codependent. I knew I was living in a dysfunctional family. I knew this. I couldn't wait to get out. I left my family when I was 18. Right when I graduated high school, I left. I never went back. What I didn't realize, though, was I took the dysfunction into every relationship I had. It wasn't until I literally received a miracle from God that I was free and I'm living where I am today. I can remember a time when I was growing up, I wanted time to pass quicker so I could move out. I used to try to sleep as much as possible. There was a time I did that because I was unconscious and time passed that way. That was the environment I had. I didn't know what codependence was. I had no idea dysfunction. I just knew that my family was messed up. I didn't know that I also was messed up. By time I got involved with my ex, I was fully codependent. Now, for those of you that don't know, codependence it's when you give up your life for somebody else, essentially. You don't have any value. You don't put any value on yourself. You end up with people that also don't put value on you. Somebody who will abuse you and you don't have any standards, so you put up with it. Somebody that will do horrible things to you. They'll financially abuse you, physically abuse you, emotionally abuse you, and you stay. You don't think you can leave. You don't get out. You don't have standards. It's all you know. I didn't know what codependence was. I had no idea. By the time I knew what it was just a couple of years ago, and I was already deep, over a decade into the marriage. It wasn't until I was saved literally by God, and I believe that this is happening to lots of other people. When you think of a miracle, you know, or usually when people think of a miracle, they think of some big event happening, like God parting the Red Sea for Moses to walk through, right? Or maybe you have cancer and you wake up one day and it's gone. It's a miracle. Or, oh my gosh, I got this big inheritance from this rich uncle I didn't even know that I had. It's a miracle. My experience with God is that he's quiet. He whispers. You barely hear him, but he's very present. Now, for me, what happened, and this I know is going to sound odd. I've mentioned this in my videos several times, but I've never really gone into the story. So I realize it's going to sound a little bit odd because it's personal to me, but this is what happened. My saving grace from codependence began on April 21st, 2016. So somebody that I love very much told me that Prince, the musician, died. Now, when that happened, immediately I started thinking about somebody I was in a prior relationship with. Now, this person I was in a prior relationship with really liked Prince, but I didn't give much thought to the end of our relationship. I actually didn't really care that much. However, the next 4 months, something in me was stuck on this man, and I went through it. I would have told you before the day that Prince died that the end of our relationship was this other person's fault. I came to realize that actually it was my fault. It was a horrific realization. It was painful. There was a time where I actually was laying down on my bathroom floor, too upset to move. And I know that sounds so dramatic, but this is what happened. I was really affected by this. I believe today that in order for me to move forward, I needed to be at the right point. I couldn't be thinking that I was an innocent victim in something when I wasn't. I needed to be very real with myself. At that same time, though, this was the end of my marriage. That same day, April 21st, 2016, I stopped being codependent. I stopped acting the way that I had been with my ex. I stopped putting up with things. I stopped ignoring problems. I didn't give him the support he needed to be the narcissist that he really wanted to be. He collapsed. Over the next few years, what happened, he ended up, without support from me, I came to the horrific realization I carried that entire marriage. If you are codependent, you're carrying the relationship. The other person, they might seem really strong, but they cannot survive without you. Without me giving everything to my ex, he couldn't survive. He ended up drinking all the time. He ended up in a mental hospital. He ended up apparently suicidal. I'm not sure I really believe that or not. He ended up in severe debt, destroyed as a person. All of this was a direct consequence to me not giving him narcissistic supply. I stopped letting him abuse me. I stopped letting him do these things. He tried to get me arrested. I kicked him out of the house. I would have forgiven him that in years past. Everything changed that day that God whispered. I started thinking about this other relationship. I started improving myself. I started realizing things about myself. And I started actively working on changing it. And I stopped putting up with things with my ex. I started focusing on being a mother. I started focusing on my life outside of my marriage instead of having everything wrapped around my ex, letting him abuse me and I put up with it. Everything changed. He utterly collapsed right in front of my eyes and my children's eyes. It was a night and day difference. But I got strong. And it got to the point where suddenly the whisper of God became a little bit louder and things started happening for me. I started making friends. I started living my life. Everything changed when I stopped being codependent. Now, this was a multi-year process, though. Remember, this happened in 2016. I didn't kick my ex out until 2019. God whispers. Things happen quietly. There could be something right now. Joe was talking to me last night and he was very frustrated because of something that was happening with his ex. And he said to me, when is she going to pay? When is she going to start having consequences? And I said to him, who knows? Maybe she already is. Maybe in a couple of years we'll be saying to ourselves, or maybe you'll be saying to yourself, geez, now I can see in March of 2022, something was really happening, something I didn't realize was happening. God is quiet. He whispers, but he's there. So I want everybody to know that. Codependence is something that you can get over. But imagine yourself. I want you to picture yourself on your deathbed. Now, I know that's a morbid thought, but imagine this. Codependence is a learned behavior, and a learned behavior can be changed. So here you are on your deathbed, and around you are all your hopes and dreams, the one days that never came. Don't let that happen to you. Do not be on your deathbed and have regret surrounding you. Don't be the type of person that says, one day I'll do this. One day I'll change. All of us can have whatever we want in life, but we have to go after it. We can have a life free of codependence. It's a choice. Everything in our life is a choice. We have to continue living. We can't just be wrapped up in somebody else. If we let fear control us, our hopes and our dreams will die. Nothing will ever come true for us. Change takes intention. It takes intentional choices. If you make good choices, great things can happen. You can choose to focus on your problems, or you can choose to focus on changing your problems. All of us go through dark times, My advice to you is to focus on finding the light. The time to rest is not here. Remember, it takes discipline to change, and discipline is a muscle. Hard work works. Risk it all, because if you don't, not doing anything is going to absolutely guarantee failure. I'm going to leave you with something that Joe says all the time. When God says you're ready, you're ready. I was delivered from codependence quietly, and it took years for me to get to where I am now. Start today. Don't tell yourself one day, next week, next year, then I'm going to do it. When this happens, when that happens, take the bull by the horns. Nothing is stopping you but you. I'm telling you, a narcissist has no strength. They are pathetically weak. We don't feel strong, but we're the ones with all the strength. Everything you think isn't always right. People think God gives these huge, giant miracles which are so obvious you can't miss them. And that's true. That does happen sometimes. My experience with God, he's quiet. So listen for him in the whispers. That's when you're going to hear God. Day by day, amazing things can happen. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really hope that it helped. I will see all of you in Friday's video, and don't forget to keep an eye on the community page. Joe and I are doing a fun video this weekend. We're going to highlight all our animals. So every day on the community page, I'm highlighting a special animal. So keep a lookout for that. I will see you all on Friday, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. God bless.